YouTube? It's your boy Pedro. Thank you for tuning in. This is my first video on this channel. And today we're going to be talking about sacrificing the social aspect when you leave college. Now, college is basically like, a hub of, younger people and people that you could form connections with. But whenever you leave college, for whatever reason, your reasoning is whether it be too expensive, you found, another career path or whatever it may be, you kind of feel alienated because most people your age are usually in school to some degree. Like me personally, I left college whenever I was 20 years old, and my first internship, like most of my coworkers weren't really my age. Most of them were they were in their 30s and 40s and shit like that. So whenever you leave college as a young person, I'm 21, whenever you leave and then you go out into the real world, you'll find that most of your coworkers aren't going to be your age, and they're not going to be as, I guess you could say, like-minded as you, because they're not from the same generation. They haven't grown up on the same things as you have. But in rare cases, you will find that 30-year-old coworker that you can be friends with. It is possible. But as a young person, you want to be around other young people. Young people, we relate to each other. It's kind of hard for me to relate to somebody that's 40 years old, because it's just if I'm telling a 40-year-old my issues, my problems and shit that I'm going through in life, they'll just be like, oh, you're so young, you got all this time, and yeah, that's reassuring to hear, but, hearing it from somebody else that's my age, I feel like I'd be able to relate to that more, and we could kind of, I guess you could say, we could have more of an understanding. Because nowadays problems aren't the same problems as they were years ago. So, that 40-year-old, they'll have a different perspective on what you're experiencing because they experienced it in a different way. Not being in school can actually cause you to be a little bit depressed because, whenever you go to family functions and family events and shit like that, you go to say you go to Thanksgiving, say you go to Christmas or whatever you go to, Hanukkah, your family members, they're going to tend to ask you oh, what are you doing with your life? Are you in school? Are you doing this? Do you have a job? Do you have this? Do you have that? And, whenever I first dropped out of college, I was kind of formulating my plan of what I wanted to do whenever I did drop out. But it hadn't really come into fruition yet. So whenever I was at say Thanksgiving, or I was at a family gathering, and, my family members, my older family members would ask me questions oh, what are you doing with your time? What are you doing with your life? I would kind of just tell them, I'm building, I don't have it all figured out just yet, but I'm getting it together. And, the older generation, they've kind of been trained to think that school is kind of the only way for somebody to really succeed. And if you have a degree, that degree basically secures your financial future, when it definitely doesn't now. And I hear a lot of older individuals saying oh, this younger generation doesn't want to work anymore. This younger generation, it's just like Gary Vee said, it's not that this generation is lazy. It's just that we have options. We have different venues to making it. We have different ways that we can navigate, life and achieving our goals. Nobody fucking dreams of working at goddamn Panda Express. Okay. Nobody dreams of working at Hobby Lobby. And if you do, you're dreaming too small. In reality, the goal for most of us, in this generation is to be in control of our own destiny. I just wish the older generation was more understanding rather than, being judgmental and calling us lazy and shit like that just because we decided to go a different route. Another thing is college is so expensive now. It's just they'll rag on you for not going to college, but they're not trying to fucking pay off your student loan debt. Like me personally, I have, student loans that I'm still paying off. But, you have people in your life saying, oh, you need to go get this degree. You need to go do this, But they don't understand that I'm the one that has to suffer the consequences of getting said degree and, taking out loans and I have to, bear the burden of that financial decision. So with that in mind, I think it's kind of irresponsible for us to be pressuring kids into college whenever there are proven to be, better options. And even, whenever I was in college, I kind of found it a bit hard to form connections. See, a lot of people my age aren't very mature. A lot of them are going out party. I have no issue with you doing that. I have no problem with you going out to go party and hanging out with your friends. I hang out with my friends all the time, but I don't feel the need to get drunk and hide and shit like that to enjoy myself, right? But I just found that like most people in college, they kind of have this mindset that they need to act a certain way. Like they need to be somebody they're not. Like a lot of kids in college, they're kind of just trying to fit in, it seems like. They're trying to seem like they're cool or something. They're all entirely too materialistic. They care about all these designer clothes, while they have fucking $100 in their bank account. They care about just being seen, you know? I understand we live one life, so it's okay to, you know, enjoy yourself. But I'd rather be myself than act like I'm something else to impress somebody. You see what I'm saying? And I say all that to say that, you know, there are times where I still, you know, contemplate going back to college just to be around people that, you know, are my age. Because whenever you leave college and you're out in the real world, a lot of your, like I said before, a lot of your, you know, the people that you're going to be around are going to be older than you. So you feel kind of, I guess you could say, isolated. So that the only reason, I don't even have a good enough reason to go back to college. The only reason I would ever go back is just for that social aspect, so I can feel related to, I guess, if that makes sense. But, you know, they say God isolates you whenever you're making different strides forward in your life. And I'm the type of person to take risks and try different things. So me being in college, I felt like that was me just trying to be safe and not really, you know, I guess you could say risking everything. So I'd rather actually risk everything, risk my, you know, stability, risk my safety, risk, you know, getting a job in the future, just so I can live out my dream. Because the last thing I want to do whenever I'm on my deathbed is say I regret doing something. And with that being said, if y'all enjoyed this video, if you related to anything I said, please give me a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be trying to upload new videos on this channel every single week. So yeah, it's been Pedro, and yeah. Y'all have a good one.